Alrighty, guys, this is your boy Matt 101, and this is the Real Success Podcast. I am joined by my co-host Chris the Shotgun Pasco, and we actually have a very, very special guest today by the name of Josh Wise.
How's it going, guys? It's good to be here.
This is actually my first time meeting him. Seems like a wicked cool dude. We talked for like 5 minutes before this, but we saved it all for you guys. And we're going to be talking about everything from what he does for a living to maybe we'll get a little personal. We'll see if Josh is willing to open up to us, We'll just play it by ear. But Josh, let's start it out with what do you do for a living?
I do fire protection. I own a fire protection company,
Nice.
LHR, Fire Protection. Been in business for about two years.
And you
Nice.
actually own the company?
I own the company, yes.
And do you have employees?
We do. 6 employees.
Wow.
5 employees after this week. One of them is leaving, sadly.
Yeah.
But it's been good. It's we've grown quite a bit. We're doing double what we did last year. This
Good
year,
for you.
so
Awesome.
So you got like a 50%, or is that 100%
it's a 100%
growth rate?
growth rate, man.
Hell yeah.
And we're on track to do it again next year with
Nice.
signed contracts that we already have,
Sweet.
guaranteed work. So without even thinking about it, we're scheduled well through next year.
Okay, and fire protection, is that like sprinkler systems that I see in the houses that I sell, or like
Yeah,
what?
absolutely. Yeah.
So are you dealing mostly like with residential houses? Or?
We do everything. So we do residential houses. We do a lot of those, and we also do commercial. So like buildings like this one that we're sitting in, we do inspection, service, maintenance, all of it.
Nice.
We do.
Do you do gas stations at all?
We don't do gas stations.
No.
We don't do the fire suppression station for the gas stations, but we do fire extinguishers, fire alarm, and fire suppression, which is water-based sprinkler systems.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm noticing more and more on the houses that I sell, the new builds,
Yeah.
they're actually required to get the CO
are.
to have like this huge badass sprinkler system.
They are.
So I can tell that your industry's growing.
I don't know how I
Oh,
feel
dude.
about that though. Like, think about it. Goes off. Everything's.
Oh yeah. So I'll tell you this. So for the builder, there's absolutely no benefit, and even the seller, there's no benefit to having a sprinkler system in the house.
Right.
And chances are, if there is a fire, there's going to be more damage by water
Right,
than
than
there is
there
from
would
the
be to
fire
fire.
itself. But the whole idea behind a sprinkler system is to prevent or to enable people to get out before the fire gets too big.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily protecting the property, but it's protecting the life to be able to
So
get
And
out.
it's not it doesn't easily go off, right? Like, because
No.
it doesn't just like, it's not like
No,
you
it has to
accidentally
have a
trip your
flame,
smoke.
Has to like set.
They're
that, there's
actually,
a piece
yeah,
inside,
they're
right?
heat sensors, right?
It's a heat. So
Yeah.
there's a bulb or a link
Yep.
in the sprinkler head itself that sets off once it reaches a certain temperature.
Yep.
Normally in residential houses, that temperature is 155,
That's pretty hot.
and it's got to get ripping to be. To
So, yeah, so the fire would have to be pretty big. So what happens if, like, you get a couple rascal kids living in a house and the boys are playing football and they smash one of the sprinkler heads?
It could go off. Yeah.
Now, are they all interconnected?
No. So you hit one sprinkler head, you smash that sprinkler head with that football.
You're gonna destroy
just
that one room.
The one
Oh,
sprinkler
okay.
head.
Yeah, that's good.
So in the movies, you see all of them go off. That's
Yeah,
not
it's
the
never
deal.
how it goes.
No, it's
In
not.
any case,
No.
if it's an
always
actual
one
fire,
head.
if it's 155, they
it
all...
hits the one head that's in the vicinity of that fire.
Okay. Interesting.
Nice. And
Yeah.
so where are you based out of?
Bedford.
Nice.
Ooh, I
Good
like
town
it.
to
That
be
Bedford
based out of.
location.
Bedford,
It's so awesome
so.
just being able to say that Bedford location.
It is. It's like our office.
That's
Same
a
thing.
huge reason why I love our office.
Yep.
It's just like, we couldn't afford that $1.5 million gorgeous building on our own. Like,
On, like, the
I have
busiest
people ask
road.
me all the time, why don't you start your own brokerage? Why don't it's like there's
so
no reason
much
to.
money.
Yeah.
There's so much money.
So do you have an actual office like we do, or do you just have like a mailing address?
We have an office, so we have a building with which is it's a garage, but above the garage is our actual office. So we have
Cool.
our desks
Oh,
up
nice.
there. We have everything that we need to for everyday operations, and then below that, the garage portion of it, that's where we store all our material. And I actually do this with my brother-in-law, Angel, who owns LHR Plumbing and Heating. So we have LHR Plumbing and Heating. They obviously take care of all the plumbing. and we take care of all the fire protection. So with all these new houses that are going up, it's like, hey, we can give you a deal on the plumbing, and we can also give you
a total
all
win.
things
You're
water.
covering
all
different
things water,
branches.
All things water, we got it.
Ooh, you thought about this, Josh.
So-
You're a smart guy.
So how did you get started? I mean, in a short 2-year span, you went from brand new company to now you have a building with the warehouse and an office space and employees. Like, to me, I always get worried, like, okay, if I took like my gross revenues and then I hired an assistant, but I had to pay that assistant, let's say $50,000 a year, I'm like, I don't want to pay that person the salary, you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of intimidating to me.
It is. So basically, it's all about, for me, it's about risk versus reward.
Sure.
For me to hire our first guy, it was a big step. You know? And it took a lot of, it was a lot of risk because, you have to hire the guy, and we had to hire the guy before we had the work, right?
Right.
I mean, because when you have the work, it's too late to start looking for a guy to hire, right?
Totally.
So,
Ain't that the truth?
So we had to hire him before we were ready, but we kind of did it in a strategic way where we signed up for a contract to build over 120 new units in Manchester.
Awesome.
All require sprinklers and plumbing.
Ooh, so you got the big contract.
So we got a big
to me,
contract.
though, for somewhere like Manchester. I feel like it'd have to be in like a more rural development than...
So the place in Manchester is rural. It's like on the Hackett Hill Road. So it's like way back. It's like basically hooks it.
Off at exit 7.
Basically hooks it.
Yeah, basically hooks it. So it's on Countryside Way. There's a bunch of nice new houses up there.
Oh yeah, they've been building there like on a regular basis since 2018.
So we got that contract, and I was like, all right, this is what we need to do. So we hired that guy.
Perfect.
We hired him because that frees me to be able to do more stuff and sell more jobs, which allows us to hire more guys, and we're just getting busier and busier because we're selling more work.
I love it.
And it just need to hire those guys to be able to do the work,
Good for you, man. That's freaking awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I did fire protection for 5 years.
Yep. So because we talked earlier, you were a firefighter in Goffstown for a little while, and
I was a
and maybe
firefighter
elsewhere.
in Goffstown. I started in Guilford, actually.
Oh, nice.
I was a firefighter in Guilford, Goffstown, and Springfield, New Hampshire. Which we can go into Springfield, New Hampshire later. But my wife and I moved to Springfield, New Hampshire for 2 years when the kids were in the hospital, and I was a firefighter for those 3 towns. I did it for a while, and then while I was a firefighter, I was doing the fire protection thing, and I eventually did go out on my own, and it got to the point where I just stepped out of firefighting 100%. I just didn't have the time, and I wanted to work on the business, and if I'm being frank, politics in the fire department are not good. I
believe
Fair
it.
enough.
It was not
Politics anywhere.
It wasn't a good atmosphere.
It was not, and
Good old boys club, maybe.
It's not what it used to be. It used to be for the boys, and now it's all politics, and
Like many things, unfortunately.
and it's not it's not my morals, it's not my values. So, and I'm a huge values guy. Our values as a company are completely different than values of a fire department, and
Okay.
it might sound a little self-serving to say this, but I wanted to be in a place where I could control the culture, and that sounds really like narcissistic of me
I
to say.
completely understand.
But-
We're in a I mean, we're very different jobs, but at the same point, like, I technically don't have a boss, nor does he, and because
It's the
I wanna do
entrepreneurial
I want to do
mindset.
things my way, right?
Right,
So,
right.
I mean, I don't want to follow or listen to anybody else and do it their way.
So while I was doing the firefighting thing, I worked for the biggest fire protection company in New England. I worked for them for 5 years. That's kind of where I cut my teeth on fire protection, sprinklers, and all that.
So you went and took all their secrets and processes and strategies.
So, dude, I'm all about relationships, man. So I had relationships with the bosses. I had relationships with the estimators, with the schedulers. I was.
You figured out how it was.
Yeah, I learned from them, and it was a great experience. There's a lot of things there that I learned to do from them, and there's a lot of things I learned not to do.
Got to take the good and the bad.
Yeah, but I mean, so there were some things that I didn't agree with in the way they did it, and I got to a point where I was like, "There's got to be something else out there. Like I do not want to keep working this way, or again, frankly, for this company." So I said, "There's got to be something out there," and it's just funny how things unfold. I'm a couple months after having a few rough weeks. Someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about starting a sprinkler company. If I start it, will you run it?" And I was like, "Oh, well."
Oh, they actually came up to you?
They came up to me, and I didn't know this guy. No, I didn't know this guy from a hole in the wall. He came up to me. I'm not even joking. He came up to me. He's like, "You look like you know what you're doing. Would you mind starting a sprinkler company.
Damn, this is
if I run.
kismet.
That's like some law of attraction shit right
So-
there. That's that secret.
Wait, so he saw
I didn't
you
know
like
this guy.
on a job?
He saw me on a job. I was running a crew of guys, and he came up to me and he said, you know, you seem like you know what you're doing. How long have you been doing this? Kind of asked me some questions, and I mean, he said.
So you were acting like a foreman.
I was
for
a
that
foreman.
job.
I was a foreman
Oh,
for
okay.
that job. That was my job title, is job foreman.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you're walking around with your white hat. Or
No,
I always
I
think
was
construction, but-
just dressed in, you know, a t-shirt. Like I
Yeah.
was dirty because I was doing sprinkler work. You know,
Yeah.
I was putting up pipe in the ceiling.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And he came up to me. He's like, "Hey, you seem like you know what you're doing. You know," he's like, "You're running this crew of guys," and he's like, "I like that."
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Random dude.
Random dude. So
That's so awesome.
I didn't know this guy from a hole in the wall, and frankly, I haven't talked to him since then. But I was on my way home that day, and this is how LHR fire protection started. So LHR plumbing and heating actually existed before LHR
Sure.
fire protection. So, I call my brother-in-law who owns LHR fire protection, and I'm like, dude, and like he knew my struggles from, you know, having the issues with working for the company I worked for.
Yeah.
And so he's been in the conversation. So I'm like, dude, some guy just approached me and said he wants me to run his fire protection division. I think I might do it. And he's like, oh, that's really cool. And he's like, why don't we do that? He's like, we'll start a fire protection division, you know. And
So that
and you're just gonna
random
run
guy
it.
planted the idea in your head, and it morphed from there.
Yeah. So the cool thing is, when I was a kid, around 10 years old, like my grandfather was an entrepreneur. He owned a few different businesses. So I got the itch, you know, when I was young.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I never really had the resources to, you know, go out and start a business,
Do it,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
so
big risk.
It's a scary thing.
Yeah, you guys know, right? So
Totally.
I going through high school, I had these little things I did on the side trying to start a business, like, you know, Josh Wise's Odd Jobs or Josh Wise's lawn care or something
yeah.
like that. You know, stuff
I
that
think
never.
we all have like
You gotta
the same
throw
background.
shit against the wall and
Dude,
do
I
it
was
sticks.
gonna have a pet store. Dude,
Yeah.
yes, I had all kinds of ideas. So
Gonna have a horse farm.
oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I was gonna, you know, when I was 10 years old, I had all kinds of ideas.
Nice.
Never stuck. But
Yeah.
so I had the itch, but I never really had the resources. So I did the whole college thing, which I think was a waste of time.
You did go to
I
college.
did.
For how many years?
4 years.
What was your degree in?
So I got an associate's in fire science. You know, went to school to be a firefighter. That's what I thought I wanted to do. So I went to school to be a firefighter, got an associate's in fire science. I was on the president's list at Lakes Region Community College, which in return got me a scholarship to Southern New Hampshire University.
Nice.
Went there, received a bachelor's in public service. After getting my public service degree, that's when I kind of started doing the firefighting thing, and I actually did a short stint of private investigation. That was
Josh
it-
Wise does it all.
It was not.
You
what
were a
think.
PI?
I was. It's not what you. It's not
dude.
all the glamour that you. Dude, it was. I drove all over the state.
I
Oh, I
immediately
bet you
think of
did.
you like rolling down a tinted window,
Oh,
and
dude,
you're like, I
I
have
had
the
a-
pictures.
I had a black Nissan Maxima. It looked cool. It was like just like you see like on TV.
Yeah.
A black Nissan Maxima. I thought that was the coolest thing driving around. I had a badge. You know, I
No.
got cleared by the state. I had my private investigator's license through the
Dude,
state.
that's cool.
Oh yeah, I had to get background
What made
checked
you
and
do
everything.
that? Do you mind me
I don't
asking?
know. I don't know.
It was just
It was an opportunity. You
yeah.
said rolled with it.
I don't even know how I found that job. Actually, I think it might have been Craigslist.
Did you
I
get
did
a,
honest with you.
Craigslist job.
Did you
Dude.
get a
Back
case
in the
to work
day.
on?
Oh yeah, no,
You
I
had
did.
cases
I did.
working?
Yeah, some psycho guy. I can't get into it, but you know, some psycho guy, and that was my first. Dude, it was like weird hours too. It was
yeah, I
like
bet.
midnight shifts. You know,
Yeah.
like midnight to 8 a.m. That's like why? Like why? I'm investigating people. Why do I have
Yeah,
to do it
during the
through
day,
midnight?
nobody's doing anything
Yeah.
from midnight to 8.
So that's what I did
That's
for a
funny.
very short stint. I mean, it was so bad. I was driving home in a black Nissan, and I ran off the road. No, I didn't crash or anything. Luckily, it was during the winter, so I hit a snowbank. You know, did some ping pong, and I was like, "Screw this! I'm not doing this." So
Yeah,
You're
screw
done.
that.
I called.
Yeah.
I called my. I think he's my sergeant. Called my sergeant. And I said, "Hey, man, I can't come into work today." He's like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I just can't come into work." And then I lasted maybe a month, and that's when I.
All right.
Yeah,
Fair
you're
enough.
done.
Fair enough. So just before we dive back into the fire suppression, just because it's something we both kind of talk about and like to ping on and kind of a basis of the show, you got a 4-year degree.
I did.
What are your yay, but nay, like good, bad?
I so I saw your podcast.
Are
on
you
it.
still paying it off?
No, because I got my scholarship. So I was
Well,
very
because
blessed.
you did community.
I mean, so if you are going to go to college, I do not recommend it, but if you do, like, I mean, I don't want a doctor performing surgery on my brain that doesn't have a degree.
Fair enough.
Okay. Certain things you need a degree for, but most you probably don't anymore. There's just the experience means way more than a degree ever will.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I went to community college, which if you are going to go to college, I recommend going to community college. Do good there, get on the president's list, get a scholarship to somewhere.
Save the money.
Make college so much more affordable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, thank God I don't owe anything to college.
That's awesome.
I was able, my grandparents, and this actually ties into why I wanted to become a business owner, is because my grandfather was able to provide in such a way for all of his family, his kids, his kids' kids.
Yep.
In such a legacy way. He paid for my first 2 years of college, and he said, "You do good, as long as you maintain a GPA of I think 3.4, I will pay your college."
Wow.
So
Nice.
and he did that for all of his grandkids.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
14 grandkids.
Oh my
So-
God.
Wow. He did do
I
well.
thought I had a
He
lot.
did
So
well.
this is the
He did
entrepreneur.
well. Yes.
So he wasn't just an entrepreneur, he was a successful entrepreneur.
Yes.
There's a big
Ooh.
difference.
Yeah, there is, absolutely.
That's awesome.
He owned 3 businesses in Connecticut. All did very well, and he passed away now, but he set it up in a way that his family is taken care of.
That's
and I
awesome.
want to be able to do that for my family.
I think we
Yeah.
all probably do.
So, he paid for my first couple of years of community college. I received a scholarship
Yep.
for Southern New Hampshire University.
Yep.
And I got my bachelor's. I'm not doing anything with it.
I was going to say, so basically looking...
Well, the fire
reflecting-
science, though.
The fire science, you don't even need that to be a firefighter in the state of New Hampshire. So
Because
you
they
need-
had fire science at the college that I went to. It was
you
like
go
a
to
big
college?
thing. Vermont Tech.
Oh yeah.
And it was very like popular there. And the fire science kids always hung out with the construction kids because
Oh,
we
yeah.
both like to party. So.
Yeah, so Vermont might be different. I'm not sure what the laws are or the rules are in Vermont, but New Hampshire, you do not need a degree in fire science to become a firefighter. You just need your Fire 1, Fire 2, and your EMT. So you have to be medically trained.
Yep.
Which I got through the fire academy, so that's something different than from the community college degree that I got. You can go to the fire academy and not have your degree in fire science, and you'll still get hired as a firefighter tomorrow.
Nice.
cool.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, so I didn't need that. I just did it because it was a thing to do. I was 18. I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah. Who the
Right.
hell knows?
No.
Dude,
when you're
nobody
18.
does. Nobody does. And
Right.
I'm going through that with one of my employees right now. He's really young. And I'm like, dude, he's like, I just don't know what I want to do. I'm like, it's okay. You don't need to know what you need to do, what you want to do.
Right.
It's like, stick with this for now. Like, take time to explore.
See how it pans
but
out.
he's like, if I do this too long, I'm gonna get stuck in it. Which I get that. He feels
I get
that
it to an
way,
extent,
you know?
but I also disagree. I think, it doesn't make it easier when you're 30 and you've been doing the same job for 10 or 12 years to just, like,
yeah.
up your roots
Yeah.
Reinvent
and
yourself.
do something else. But,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I went from...
But 18 to 23 is just
It-
they're very
nobody
important
knows.
years
They
to
are.
just like
Not
throw stuff at the wall and
They
like,
are.
just try to figure it out.
They are. It is. But I mean, for me, and my recommendation is to people now. It's that I went to college and I do not recommend it unless again you're
It's a
going for a
technical-
doctor or
Law,
something or
engineer,
accounting,
whatever, yeah.
engineering, something that you need a degree for.
Attorney.
Attorney.
Yeah.
Nah,
Yeah, for sure.
But
It could be
I
an
mean,
attorney.
I really do believe that experience outweighs any degrees
Yeah.
these days.
I agree completely. That was one of the big things I relied on when I got out of the service was, hey, I have 4 years experience working on heavy equipment.
Yeah.
And managing, all the gear, managing all the publications, the parts room, everything, doing all that stuff. So I had management experience and I had wrench turning experience.
Right.
And I was able to get a job making $60,000 to $70,000 at 21 years old, fresh when I got out of the
Yeah.
service. Versus, not for nothing, all my other friends that went to college and now they have $120,000 in debt,
Oh, yeah.
and
And they're not necessarily making that
and
money.
they get
No,
entry level
no,
jobs
they're only
making
not.
literally
They're
30
like
grand a year.
35 to
Right.
40.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like
It's like $35,000 a year
It's
with
tough.
$100,000 in debt. Doesn't
Yeah.
like the math just doesn't work out. You can't.
yeah.
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 Absolutely.
So we kind of touched on the whole college thing. So thanks for the input
Yeah.
there, because I think
Yeah.
that's something we like to hear from on a bunch of different people.
You know,
anybody we talk to, we like to hear.
A lot of
about.
entrepreneurs first of all, we all know that, 80% of people who go to college for a degree do not end up using that degree. I forget what the exact number is, but it's
Right.
up there,
It's basically a piece of paper that says, "Hey, I put up with 4 years of bullshit."
Yeah. Now I owe a lot of money.
Right. Right.
Yeah. It's expensive wallpaper, right?
Yeah.
So, but any entrepreneur that I've talked to, and
none of them have
the-
gone, right? Or
if
left
they
early?
do, if they
Doesn't-
do, it's
doesn't
like
matter.
it wasn't worth it.
Some
you
of the
know?
most
Or they-
successful people I've met didn't Or they dropped out.
My grandfather went to trade school, owned 3 businesses.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a big problem. Not to keep touching on that, but like that everybody out of high school pushes college, and it's like.
I think that's starting to change. So
Well,
like our
it is.
generation
It
of
is.
parents, like like the people in their mid to late 30s
You know
that
what the
have
problem
kids
with
are.
the high school kids now though? None of them want to use their hands.
no.
None of them. Nobody wants to
well,
work.
that dives into the problem with social media and internet.
Nobody
like,
wants to work.
There are
dude.
kids.
My cousin's a senior. All his friends, none of them want to work.
For instance, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
When you had the opportunity to get your driver's license in high school, did you get it right away?
Oh yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, a large number of kids in this newer generation, like that, are in high school right now. They're not even bothering to get their fucking license.
That's right.
They're like,
why would you? Right? 'Cause
they're like,
Uber.
yeah,
Uber.
they're like,
True.
I'll just
kick an Uber
I'll just
here,
put
though.
it on my parents to do it.
Yeah.
Like, drive me around or drive me to practice. Like, they just don't have that same. Like, I wanted to
Where
get
was the
up.
independence? Yeah.
I wanted to get up and get out of the nest.
Oh, yeah.
A really good video or documentary that touches upon all of this is it just came out on Netflix. It's called The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
And it talks about what's going on with the newer generation and how social media is really screwing things up.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because people are almost too content hanging out at their parents and just utilizing the internet, and that's their escape.
Yeah.
And they're just, it's not the same as how we grew up.
Right.
I'm like,
we were like the end of that generation.
we were starting to see it.
Right.
Yeah.
But like,
we didn't grow up with only that.
yeah. And so, yeah, because I didn't have a cell phone until I was 15, 16.
16, yeah.
Yeah,
But like-
my niece, who's like, I think she's 11 years old.
Yeah.
She's like, hey, Uncle Josh, can I have your extra cell phone? Because I bought a new cell phone, so I have an extra one laying around the office. She's like, hey, can I have your other cell phone? I'm like, you're 11 years old. What do you need a cell phone for?
Yeah.
Dude, when I
my
was,
niece
like,
Avery
13
can
or
use my
14.
phone better than I can.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I tried to buy my own cell phone when I was 14 from one of my many businesses that I started.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
was from my
yeah,
lawn
yeah,
mowing business.
yeah.
So I'm like, told my parents, I'm the only kid in 8th grade who doesn't have a cell phone. And it was me and my 2 buddies, like my 2 best friends. The 3 of us were like the only kids who have a cell phone. I'm like, I started a company. I'm gonna cut grass. I'm gonna pay you a whole year bill, a year's worth for my cell phone bill in advance. And they're like, okay, save the money, and in a month we'll see if you can do it. So I saved the money. And they're like, nope, you're still not doing it. I'm like, this is my money. I want to buy a cell phone.
Yeah.
And then I still had to wait 2 more years, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah. My first cell phone was Virgin Mobile.
Dude, I had
That was
Nextel.
Mine was a Nokia, a blue Nokia.
Nice.
I was rocking the Nextel, dude.
Yeah.
With
My
a little
dad used to-
antenna.
Oh, dude, I remember the razors, like the
Yeah.
flip phone. I thought those were the coolest thing.
when those came out, those were the bees.
Oh,
knees.
yeah.
Those are.
Oh, yeah.
There's like Chelsea
iPhone.
Fairhead has a razor.
Yeah.
Item.
Oh yeah, all the cool kids had razors.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah, like
I feel like I was a
the
peasant
ones
here
that
with
they're
my,
Oh, no,
the
nothing. It
parents
was
who
like
were
the
willing to
thinnest-
splurge on their kid's phone had
Yeah.
razors.
Yeah, yeah.
And like my parents were not one of those.
No,
Parents.
mine were
my
either.
parents made me buy my own basketball.
Which is good. Like
Yeah.
my parents didn't do
Right,
anything
look
for
at
me,
the
you know?
difference now, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
my stepdad definitely, my stepdad was a huge part of my life and provided me with a good childhood and, summers at the lake and the boat and
Yeah.
whatever. And, all this fun four-wheeling and all that fun stuff. But at the same time, it was like every Saturday morning, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to ride my bike. But he's like, oh, no, we got a whole trailer filled with rocks. You get to shovel them for 8 hours. And I'm like, whoa, it's the first day of summer. Like, what do you... No, and then it would be like every Saturday, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to get up, get out of the house, and get on my bike. And he'd be like, no, he'd be up at 5 a.m. pulling weeds. Like, let's go. I'm like, oh, my.
Dude,
Yeah,
when
that's what's missing. That's what's missing
Dude,
today.
when I was
That's
in
what's
junior
missing.
high, I literally feel like look, and again, I was talking about this with Drew on the last podcast. I think you exaggerate memories, but I'm telling you, thinking back on some of like the summers in between 5th grade and in between like 6th grade to 7th grade, it felt like Adventures of Tom Sawyer in my life.
Yeah.
Like me and my friends would meet on our bikes like early in the morning. And I grew up in a really rural town, so there's like literal houses that no one's been to for 30 years, abandoned.
Dude, we went to go see empty
and-
houses.
Yeah.
Like I would like climb. We would go to the dam. We would try to figure. We were in places that were restricted.
Oh, yeah.
All
yeah,
the time.
dude, you have to.
Like
That's what you do,
it was
though. It was like the best part of growing up, though.
It was freaking, and I feel like the generation coming up may be missing a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
Because
they do everything on
they're
cell
just-
phones.
They're just very.
You know what's crazy to me
Just
about
like,
the
hey,
whole
my
social
favorite
media thing?
YouTuber.
Yeah.
They'll
is
literally
doing this.
They will no hold on.
You know?
The thing that kills me with the social media, they will literally like put an outfit on or go to a destination just to take a picture to post it on social media.
Oh,
And
it's
they're
all
like,
fake.
okay,
It's all fake.
I'm done. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
all fake.
well, you got all ready. You went to the place. You drove there. You rode your bike there. Whatever. You walked there.
Yeah.
What's the point?
It is so weird because your life on Facebook and Instagram does, no matter how real you are, it's going to look different than what real life is because it's just designed that way. Like, there's a reason why Facebook doesn't have a dislike button.
Right.
Like, they do that on purpose. They're trying to make it, like, positive and, you know, affirming of what you're doing, and they want people to look forward to posting about stuff that happened in their life.
Absolutely.
And they're doing a hell of... It is addicting because they actually did a study that serotonin is released in your brain whenever you get a like or a text message. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's like it creates a satisfying effect.
The problem is these kids are growing up
that's the only way
being
they
developed
know
that
to
way.
get it.
Yeah.
Right.
So like they don't know what the satisfaction is
scary.
of picking up all those rocks or you know mowing
Yeah,
the
when
lawn.
you're
Like
done.
they don't get the like. Dude, when I was a kid, I mowed that lawn. I was like, yeah, I mowed that lawn.
Yeah,
you know?
I told
Hell
him
yeah.
the other day, dude. I was 11. I literally I drew up flyers, printed like 30 flyers, went around my entire neighborhood on a golf course, and like all these put them in every single mailbox.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
and for 2 weeks I had nothing, and then all of a sudden like 4 people called me. I would literally take my stepdad's lawnmower, drive it down my neighborhood, and cut. And dude, I could make like 150 bucks in a day's worth of work, and I do it like 2-3 times a week.
Kids
It was
aren't doing
awesome.
that,
I loved it.
Yeah, and less kids are like playing sports. Like I threw a one-hitter when I was in 6th grade. I swear it was like the best day of my life. I thought I was the man.
He threw a one-hitter. That's his actually proudest accomplishment.
No, just like, you know, in
I'm
elementary,
just
you know,
kidding.
it's just like, it's just fucking, I just thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
And less kids are playing sports now. Like, it's funny. I see it when I'm
Less satisfaction.
helping families purchase properties. A lot of times when they bring their teenage kids along and stuff, and I'm like, hey, you a ball player? Or like stuff like that. And they're like, no.
You a ball player?
Yeah, like there's this one client who, you know, his kid had to be like 6 foot, and he's like 13, and I'm like,
Doesn't play basketball.
You must play basketball.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, you playing anything?
No football, no basketball, no hockey,
no nothing.
Nothing.
No
Nothing.
nothing.
I think it depends. Honestly, it's very interesting to see the different generations of how we grew up versus how kids now grow up. I feel like we acknowledge the difference now, so I feel like our generation of children may be different because we're gonna want them to grow up the same way we did.
Yeah, hopefully it's just a generation.
Whereas our parents had us as a generation, and they didn't know how to raise us with technology, so we kind of did our thing. And then you have like whatever millennials and Gen Zers or whatever the hell they are. They're just How do parents know how to combat social media? I know I'm not getting my kid a cell phone anytime soon.
But what's scary though is what's going to be around when your kid's 14 years old. I mean, what's it going to be? You know, I have 2 kids. And
you do?
I do.
What age?
4 years old, twins.
Oh, you had twins.
God.
Yeah, identical twins.
Wow.
How did you feel when you found that out? Were you like
shocked?
Nervous?
I have a 4-month-old, dude. Praise you, man.
Yeah.
So wait, tell me this: is it easier because there's 2 and you got 2?
So you know,
or are you? Do you mind me asking? Are you planning on having?
No.
My
wife says no, and I agree. So they say once you have twins once, especially when they're identical twins, fraternal twins, this doesn't apply to, but identical twins, once you have twins once, your chances of having twins again go up.
No.
So my wife's grandmother had, I think, maybe 3 sets of twins. So once we had twins, we're like,
done.
Not
2
done.
and 2's a good number.
Yeah,
You got 2.
right?
You got a boy and a girl, boys, girls.
Oh, they're identical. It's boys. It's
you
boys.
did say that, yeah.
Wow, they're identical.
Yeah, identical. So
Hold on. How identical are they?
So
Are they spitting
Yeah,
image?
this-
I mean, they're
this-
your kids, so you can acknowledge a difference. But like,
so I find this hilarious, but people who know us, they still have a hard time figuring out which kid is which.
That's awesome, though.
Which is weird because they are identical, but because of do we have time to go down this trail?
Yeah,
totally.
Right. So when they were born at 27 weeks, which is extremely premature.
Early, yeah.
So they spent so they're born at one of them was born at 1 pound 5 ounces.
Holy smokes.
That was Caden. And the other one, Corbin, was born at 2 pounds 5 ounces or 4 ounces, something like that. So he's literally twice the size.
So I have a brother and sister that are twins. They're 14 years younger than I am.
Yeah.
But my brother was like 4 pounds and my sister was like 2.2, and she was literally like in my hand. Like that was it.
Caden, my son that weighed 1.5, I could hold him in my hand. That's how small he was. Extremely, just bones,
Wild.
no fat at all.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they spent 2 years in the hospital. 1 year. I'm sorry, 1 year in the hospital.
Oh, really?
Caden spent 1 year in the hospital, which is why we moved to Springfield. Because they were at Dartmouth Hitchcock in Lebanon, New Hampshire.
Oh, okay.
So we needed to be close because he wasn't coming home anytime soon. So we ended up.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
My brother and sister were definitely in there for a good couple months or few months.
Yeah.
But that's a
That must have been hard, man.
It was.
And hey,
So
dude,
you
what
had
a,
to you
what
had
a couple
to change
troopers
you,
of children you have.
Oh,
Good
you had to
goodness.
revert and change your whole life
Absolutely.
to make that happen.
So first of all, there's just they were delivered extremely early. We had no idea that was going to happen.
No.
We went in for a checkup, just a typical checkup, and they were like they did the ultrasound, and the person in the ultrasound, she was really quiet. And so when I see one baby moving around, I don't see the other one, but the person in the ultrasound, she left, and she's like, I have to go get a doctor. So that is where your heart sinks right
Yeah,
there.
you're
Your
like,
stomach
what do you
must have dropped.
It did.
Yeah.
So she's like, I gotta go get a doctor. So basically, they ask us to step out, and a doctor comes to see us, like in the waiting room, like we're done with the ultrasound now, and he says, you have two options. You can either go to Boston, Dartmouth Hitchcock in Boston, or you can go to Dartmouth, or the Boston Children's in Boston, or you can go to Dartmouth
That's
Hitchcock.
like considered the best one
In
Boston
Lebanon.
Children's,
Yeah.
right?
So Boston and Dartmouth are both like they're like
pretty
neck
close,
and neck.
yeah.
So we didn't want to go to Boston.
No.
Because I mean, I'm also with
Family's here,
Boston.
yeah.
I
City
didn't
life
want to deal with the traffic. I didn't
Totally.
know how long it was going to be, but I just knew.
Right.
Like I worked in Boston all the
Oh,
time.
imagine
I
if
just
you had to
knew.
go down there for a year.
Oh yeah, and we didn't even know it was going to be a
Lebanon's
year.
way
yet.
better. No
So
traffic up there.
we went to Lebanon.
Yeah,
And
good choice.
he said, I don't want to tell you that you have to rush there, but he said, go home, grab what you need,
And
leave,
go.
and go. So.
Jesus, that's
Now,
tough.
did he say
that's
there was
tough
like
words
a
to hear from a
premature
doctor.
labor, or was there like
No,
an
it wasn't
underlying
premature labor.
condition?
So what it was?
So they had to deliver the babies, like is basically.
We
what
didn't
you
even
said.
know that. They just said you just need. They didn't tell us anything. They said you need to go to the
That's
hospital.
not really cool.
No, dude, it was like
Stressful.
my heart was in my stomach for
Can't even imagine.
like for 2 days while all this was happening. So they said you don't have time. Go home, get what you need, and get to the hospital. And I'm thinking like, what? It sounds like it's an emergency. Can we call an ambulance or something? So we go home. My wife gets, I think, a change of clothes because again we don't know what we're getting into. I get
Wow.
a change of clothes. We rushed down to the hospital. I think I was driving like 85 miles per hour down 89 to get to Dartmouth Hitchcock. We get there. And I put my wife in the wheelchair. Oh, and she had to sit a certain way too. So she had to sit like this, and he didn't tell us why. But now we know that
God.
the reason why she had to sit like that is because my son Caden, who was one that was born at 1 pound 5 ounces, wasn't breathing, and we needed to do whatever we could to increase his chances of breathing. So if she sits like this, then her body weight isn't as much on
That
his lungs or
side.
something.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I guess
Interesting.
like Caden was like here in her stomach or something like that. So she had to sit a certain way so that he could breathe, basically.
Damn, man.
So he's like,
Wow,
so
no-
the doctor
no pressure,
said
Yeah.
the doctor said you need to sit on your hip. And he didn't tell us why. He just said you need to sit on your hip. So we're driving down the highway 89, and my wife would start like, because it's not comfortable to sit like this in the car,
Right.
So she would start leaning like this. I'm like,
Can
April,
imagine.
you need to sit on your hip.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but you need to sit on your hip. So we get there, put her in a wheelchair. We roll
Poor
her up.
Josh. Josh is like doing what the
Yeah.
little tidbits of information they gave us.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
no,
like,
dude,
we're doing it. We're
it's
doing 89. Like 89 is a longer road. It's a
Yeah.
longer highway. So, I'm thinking like, what is going on? Like, are we going to deliver the babies today? Like, that's what I thought. I was like, I called my parents. She called her parents. I was like, I think we're delivering the babies today. I don't know, but we're going up
Oh
to
my
Dartmouth Hitchcock in
God,
Lebanon.
dude.
So
Ugh.
we get to Dartmouth Hitchcock in Lebanon. We roll into the delivery ward, whatever you want to call it, and we meet with the doctors, and they're like, so they do an ultrasound with some more, advanced technology. Basically, they say we're gonna try giving you steroids, and we're going to try to get Caden, which is what they were calling Baby B. We're gonna try getting him to stimulate some breathing, and his heart was his heart was pausing, so his heart wasn't beating. So they're going to give him some steroids, try to kickstart his heart,
Yeah.
Kickstart his breathing.
Wow.
He wasn't doing any of that. And we found out that's why they rushed us to Dartmouth Hitchcock in
Right.
Lebanon, is because Caden his heart wasn't beating and he wasn't breathing.
Gotcha.
I can't believe they didn't tell you any of that. I guess
They-
they want to freak you out, but at the same time, I feel like they gotta fill you in on what the deal is.
Yeah,
So-
I mean,
so
looking
what-
back at it now, I don't know how. Like, I honestly
How
don't
you
know
would've
how
reacted.
I don't know if I'd want them to do it differently.
Yeah.
Just because
Fair enough.
I don't know what I'd be thinking.
Right.
You know, or what I would do. I probably wouldn't be able to
Right,
drive.
you're running a bunch of what if scenarios
Yeah,
in your
maybe
head, but you
maybe
don't
there's
know.
a reason they
They
relayed
don't.
the
Probably,
information.
Yeah, I mean-
probably for that reason. Yeah.
So looking back at it now, like my wife and I wish it went differently, but we aren't sure if how we would have reacted if it did go differently.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, hindsight is 20/20. But
Yeah, fair enough.
so we got there. They said, yeah.
So they
his
do
heart-
the ultrasound.
They do the ultrasound. They start pumping her with steroids, which
Yep.
is to get him to kickstart his heart and to get him to start breathing, or they call it mock breathing. It's not actually breathing like you and I are breathing now, but it's called mock breathing. They're supposed to be mock breathing before when they reach a certain development
Right.
point. So he wasn't doing that, and his heart wasn't beating. So they gave her some steroids. He didn't. So they let us sit there for 24 hours, seeing if the steroids would kick in.
Yeah.
They didn't. So the next day, so we go there. We get there in the afternoon on Monday or Tuesday, whatever it was, and then the next day, they
You're
came
staying in a hotel at this point.
No, we're in the hospital
Oh,
room.
you're
We're in the hospital room. So
So
she's hooked up to
overnight.
IVs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We're not going anywhere. Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
so we knew at that point.
So it's not
that-
like they did the ultrasound and then let her go. You guys are
No,
in there. You're
we're-
in a room,
She's hooked up to IVs,
and you're staying in the room, like sleeping in the chair.
They had a chair. Yeah, it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever
Shit,
slept.
man.
Dude, I would have slept I'd rather have slept on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, we were waking up. The doctors came in every 4 hours or 2 hours, something like that. So we didn't get any sleep that night. And they come in the next day, and like it's not just one doctor. It's like
A team.
an army of doctors
Oh, my
and
God.
anesthesiologists and
That's nerve wracking.
nurses. Like it's a team. It's not just one person. It's a team. So it's like you're sitting there and you feel so small because
Yeah.
they're literally circling you. You know.
Right.
And basically they're like, yeah, so the steroids aren't working. We need to deliver today,
Oh my god.
and you need
Yeah,
it. And
what,
they
13 weeks early.
yeah, and the way they did it almost made us feel like okay, but it didn't. They said you need to prepare for baby B, which was Caden, the one that weighed 1 pound 5 ounces. You need to prepare for him to be a stillborn.
Oh Jesus.
So we heard that,
Oh my God.
and like it was on one side, I was like happy that my kids were coming. At once, on the other side, I was like
Yeah.
I was devastated because I might be losing one. And
Yeah.
you know, and before that, before this pregnancy, my wife and I had a miscarriage.
Oh, that
so
doesn't help things.
so we're thinking like, hey, well, we're making up for it now because we're getting 2. You know, so
Right,
we're making
right.
up for the miscarriage.
Yeah,
You know,
so
so then
there's a plus.
so then you know, we're thinking, you know, we might be losing one.
Oh, man.
They did tell us to. They did tell us to prepare for a stillborn.
Yeah.
And she went to the delivery room. I got all gowned up and stuff. I was able to be in there for the C-section. It was a C-section.
Yeah.
Did you watch that?
No, dude. So
Dude,
they put a curtain.
Cuts and shit out.
They,
and
they,
I'm like,
they did
I'm
a
like, I don't want to watch
curtain.
any of that.
They did a curtain, and they're like, "Don't watch because you
No.
might pass out."
Dude, they're like,
But dude, I was like sitting there talking to April. My wife's name is April, and I was sitting there talking to her and stuff, and like every once in a while, like I was like, I'm an EMT, I can take this. I've seen worse, you know. So
Yeah.
like every once in a while, I'd be like, like, ugh, and then I get a little queasy. Then I
my
like,
wife, my wife's
I can
nurse,
imagine.
and when before she said worst case scenario if it has to happen, she's like, just so you know, this is how it goes, and I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm
all for,
horrible
like,
with that
I'm
stuff.
very
So I could
curious
not
about
watch.
that stuff.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like my curiosity will
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
get the best of me in that
I'm
situation.
picking over.
But at
you
the
know?
same point, once she's telling me like, no, you're like whole internals, they literally
Oh
just
yeah.
like plop them on the side.
I saw
and I'm
that.
like,
Yeah.
no, I don't want.
They're like
no,
their
I'm
tables
good.
right here. They'll And then when they're done, they they put them back in and stitch you up.
It's a wrap.
Yeah.
That's a wrap.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
The, the medical industry is so insane.
Oh,
It
dude.
really is, dude.
Yeah, it is.
Wow, what a wild story, man! And look at
Yeah.
him now, 4-year-old.
4 years old.
Kaden
Yeah.
is a trooper.
Wait,
They're
so
both
I have
troopers.
to ask though. I have to because this is my first time. You must have heard some of this before. So literally they have the C-section, and what's the plan of action after this?
So
You
they have the C-section.
Pre-
So
they hook
we had
them up on
we had
little,
baby A
tubes.
and baby B, right? So they're doing the C-section. They say, "Hey, this is baby A." We hear him cry, right? So we're like, "Sweet,
both of them.
one." of
No,
them.
baby A.
Oh,
Baby A,
okay.
Comes
baby A.
out.
So baby A comes out. He's crying. I'm like, all right, cool.
Great
I
sign.
hear that I've been
That's
told
good.
crying is good. That means they're breathing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I hear them say, "This is baby B." We didn't hear anything.
Oh, jeez.
Dead silence. So I'm automatically, they didn't let us see the
Assuming the
kids.
worst,
They didn't let
right.
us see the kids. You know, they
No, they could, like, instantly stick them in the tubes and, like, the big
they wrap
chambers.
them in like this weird blanket and stuff.
Yeah.
And, so automatically I'm like, okay, baby A is good. We don't know what's going on with baby B.
Right.
Yeah.
It seems like half an hour passes. It probably wasn't. I don't know how long it was, but eventually my wife's sitting there. She's still open wide up, you know, and she's sitting there. She looks at the anesthesiologist and she's like, "Can we see our kids? You know, can we?
Yeah.
Like, what's like? We don't even know if they're alive. We
Right.
don't even know if they're alive at this
Right.
point, you know." So, whether it was 10 minutes or 30 minutes, she's like, "Can we see our kids?" So he's like, "I don't know. Let me go check." So he left for a minute. He went to the room where they kept the kids, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys can go see them." So I walk in there. Both of them are alive. That's the first thing I'm looking at. I'm like, both of them are alive.
God.
Both of them, but they're so small.
Tiny.
They're so small. So
Oh,
they're
I
like,
can imagine.
I was
I didn't want
mind-blown
to.
with
I
my brother and
didn't want
sister,
to touch them. I
dude.
didn't want to touch them. So they literally like the size of my hand.
They're like little freaking like aliens.
They're like
No, I'm not
aliens.
calling you- Yeah,
They-
they really
they-
are. Though. They're like these
they
little
are, yeah.
mini things.
So like I'm looking at them. I'm like, and they're like, "Do you want to like hold their hand?" Because I can't hold them. We know that. Like, I can't
Right,
hold them. But they're
right.
like, "Do you want to hold their hands?" And like, dude, he couldn't even wrap his hand around my pinky.
No,
You know. So I was
no.
like, "No, I don't want to hold them, or I don't want to touch them because I'm afraid I'll break
Hurt
them.
'em.
Like they're
Yeah,
so
yeah.
small.
They're
you know."
tiny. That's really small. Like
And that starts our year stay in the hospital for Caden. Corbin was in the hospital for less than that, but Caden had to get hooked up to, because his lungs are so underdeveloped, and they had what they call twin-to-twin transfusion, which basically means that Corbin was stealing all the nutrients, all the blood supply
Yep.
from April, my wife.
Isn't that common?
It's not common. It's very rare.
Oh, it is.
Actually, like the
Yeah.
fact that they had it was like makes them like one of like, I don't know what it is, but one of like a million twins that were born. Like
Holy shit.
normally you don't have
so
this.
you're
Yeah.
saying and Corbin and what?
Corbin and Caden.
Caden. So
Yeah.
Corbin was taking all of Caden's nutrients.
Yes, so
he
that's what
couldn't
happens
get
with
anything to
twin
grow.
transfusion. So Caden wasn't growing, he wasn't developing or anything like that.
And that's why, yeah.
So he
Gee.
was. That's why
Wow.
Corbin was twice the size, literally twice the size as
Literally.
Caden.
Yeah.
Even with him being twice the size, he was still small. But
Right, right.
Yeah.
2 pounds, you know. But he was. So that's what happened is, Caden was underdeveloped. Corbin was well developed considering the situation, you know.
Yeah.
And that was 4-year-olds. Are they like totally like?
So there's how we got started on all this. So they are identical, but because Caden spent so much time in the hospital and he was on all kinds of steroids, he had 6 surgeries or something like that before he was 6 months old.
Jesus.
He had a heart surgery, had a heart surgery, had surgery. Oh, he has a G tube still to this day. He has a G tube, and that's how I tell him apart. I'm like, hey, do you have that thing in your stomach? Because you're kidding if you do. I still get
Right.
them mixed up, you know.
Yeah.
So like just looking at their face, like you can't tell, but if you are looking at them, you know, off at a distance, you can tell. Because Caden is shorter than Corbin.
Yep.
They
Yeah.
pumped him with so much drugs that it stunted his growth. So he's a little bit shorter than Corbin.
Yeah.
But he still has a G tube. He actually had a trach put in because he
Wow.
couldn't breathe. His lungs weren't developed.
Jeez.
So
Wow.
they put a trach in. When he left the hospital after a year, we had a nurse live with us for a year and a half or something like that. Literally lived at our house.
Oh my god.
They were cool. They were a lot of fun.
Must have became part of the
They came
family.
from part of your family. Like Christmas
Yeah.
Day, you're seeing them Christmas Day. You know, Thanksgiving.
Dude, that's wild.
They didn't actually like live with us, but we had
Well,
nurses.
they-
We had
yeah,
a
like
nurse.
visiting
We had a
nurse every
nurse.
day,
We had a
yeah.
nurse.
Now, did you
for
go ahead
14 hours a day.
and do that yourself, or did the hospital set that up for you?
The hospital set it up, and it was actually
Okay.
covered through the state. So
I was gonna
that
ask you,
nice.
not that it's like what was the insurance and cost, like, because that's obviously hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah, I saw.
I would say even
Did you
more
just
than
get away
that.
with like your $5,000 deductible and all this shit?
yeah, I
or-
did. Yeah, I did. So, well, actually, you know what? They got me. The insurance company got me. Which, I mean, they didn't make any money off of me, so I don't mind. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they were born in 2016 and they ended up staying to 2016 to 2017, I got hit with the deductible for 2016
Twice.
and for
And
2017.
That
Like,
was
you
it,
guys
though?
suck.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Whatever. That
So
ain't bad.
I mean, yeah,
And,
but
like, easily could have been probably like $800,000.
oh, dude, I saw what the insurance got to pay. I'm like, I feel bad for you
Just
guys.
just imagine if you didn't have
Yeah, you know what?
insurance.
Take
forget
my
that.
2 deductibles,
yeah,
please.
yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it's
So
been a wild
they're
ride,
both
but
pretty happy and
they're
healthy
both,
now.
Corbin is where he should be as a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
He has some they say he has some speech things, but I mean he's good.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Caden, he still has a G tube. He lost a trach. He has a nice scar right here, which is another way you can tell him apart.
Yeah.
Is Caden has a scar here from the trach.
Yeah.
And he has a G tube. He still has a G tube, but he
What
lost
is
the
a
trach.
G-tube?
It's how we feed him. Okay. So he doesn't consume enough fluids on his own. So we give him fluids through his G
Nutrients,
tube.
basically, yeah.
Yeah. He did just recently, like within I think the past 6 months, start actually eating food on his own.
Wow.
Ooh,
So-
that's a huge win.
Yeah. So we like at first we were giving him milk through his G tube.
Yeah.
We were giving him we had these packets that you mix up with water, and my wife would literally syringe it up with a syringe, and then she would feed him through his G tube.
Yep.
But it's possible that he could get to the point where.
Oh yeah, I think.
I had a client
I
like
think he
that.
will.
I forget what her. She had a daughter and a son, and the son was, I don't know. Cameron was like, I don't know, maybe like 8 or 9, and then Alia or something like that was her daughter's name. She was like 6 maybe.
Yeah.
But I forget what her disease was. But it's a super super rare disease or condition, whatever it is. And yeah, she was like, amidst showing, she'd be like, "Oh, we gotta feed her," and they would do that. So that must have been a G tube.
Yeah. So we're hoping that. So the chances of him losing it are good, just because he's so young and so resilient.
Yeah.
Chances are that he will lose it. But we do still feed him. We give him water still through that.
Yeah.
And milk. But he's eating. He'll eat on his own now, and he does drink a little bit on his own, but not enough. He needs to get a certain amount of fluids.
So now, what about like his day-to-day abilities? I mean, obviously he's restricted because he was so premature.
So
but
for instance, does April stay home, or
she stays home? She stays home
from like a regular, not premature 4-year-old to Corbin to Caden. What kind of difference?
So my wife is not able to work because of Caden and his condition.
Okay. So he's like
there's no daycares.
Hands-on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's funny looking back at it now. We were just out to eat with some friends on Sunday, and they're like, "Do you guys feel like he's made any improvements?" And to be in it every day, it feels like we haven't. Like he has, obviously. If you look back at the past 4 years, it seems like he hasn't made any progress. But my friend Steven, he was like, "Dude, he's come a long way," because he sees him. After not seeing him for a month, he sees that, last month he wasn't drinking on his own. This month he's drinking on his own.
Right.
But he is very hands-on. He needs, full-time care.
So when you told me that he ate, food 6 months ago, that to me says, all right, so there's room to get to that point then.
Yeah.
That must have been like
we're holding
a
out
great
for hope.
day.
Yeah. They told us by 3 years old that he was going to be able to, we would even never tell he had issues. But
really,
so when he got to 4 years old and he's still having these issues, we were like,
all right, that's almost like a little
more work ahead.
Yeah, but he has come a long way, and I do think he will get to the point where he loses the trach or he loses the G tube.
Yeah,
he already lost the trach. We do think that day is coming. We don't know when, but he does require full-time care. So my wife stays home with him. Corbin could go to daycare if that was something that we wanted to do.
Well, she's home anyway.
But she's home anyway, so we keep both the kids home with her.
Save the money.
They did just start preschool, which has been like awesome because it gives her a break.
Yeah.
I can imagine staying home with him. So I love going to work.
No, I've been doing. My wife went back to work maybe like 6 or 7 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Maybe 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I've been doing like realtor dad.
Yeah, all set.
And listen, it's fine. Like, I have no problem.
I like listening to these new dad stuff.
He gets a kick out. I have no problem taking care of my kid.
I think I'm pretty far away.
I mean, I love it and all. Don't get me wrong.
I hope so.
But not for nothing.
Unless I have that kid in Colombia. I don't know.
Well, maybe you already do.
Yeah.
I mean,
so maybe.
It's a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the whole dad thing. Luckily, I had siblings way younger than me, so I had a lot of hands-on experience growing up.
Yeah.
But then, now I'm a new dad running a busy and successful real estate business in the most insane time that we've ever seen as an industry.
Oh, everything's different
I'm
and varied.
Obviously, the breadwinner, don't get me wrong, my wife, lots of credit to her for my success to get to where we are. Even
your wife kills it.
Getting involved in the industry, but it's like, I can't. If she's at work 3 days a week, I can't do what I need to do, even though I'm honestly trying not to work so hard right now.
Right.
But I still can't even go spend 4 hours on the computer and send out emails or calls and texts for 4 hours,
without stuff to do.
Which in turn is gonna most likely potentially turn into a couple clients or a couple sales or a couple potential new listings or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, I had a closing. I had 2 closings last Friday, and I had my baby. My mom was supposed to babysit. Whatever. Thanks, Mom.
Stuff happens.
Like, whatever. Yeah, appreciate
What,
it.
mom bailed?
Mom had other shit to do, so grandma. So I'm like, all right, it's fine. I'll
Hey,
put her in
those
the closing.
moms, they're busy.
Luckily,
Grandma's
she's
busy.
luckily my kid is awesome. Like she's wicked
chill.
laid back,
Yeah.
doesn't really cry. She just kind of talks a little bit.
Layla's a ridiculously cute baby too.
She was talking the whole closing. I mean, she was a hit. Everybody
Oh,
loves
yeah,
her, right?
yeah.
But then I get out of the closing. Immediately, she's pissed. She's hungry, so I'm driving. And then I got like 3 other clients who are trying to close on their house, and they're all calling me, and I can't answer the phone
no.
because I have a screaming child in the back car.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
now she's hungry, so I'm like, I have to get to my office and feed her, and then I got to figure out this and blah blah blah. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, this is it. This was like my last straw. I'm like,
Yeah,
we gotta look
yeah.
in a daycare or something,
Yeah.
or
Liz
I don't know.
is going to be listening to this part of the podcast intently. It's like, new dad issues.
It's really not that bad, but it's just like I don't have the ability to work the way that I need to work
dude.
Yeah.
Monday through Friday, and it's just like her work schedule is supposed to be 3. She was supposed to work every other weekend.
Yeah.
So if she works every other weekend, that's fine because I know every other weekend I'm gonna have the
Right.
ability to work, and then every other week I should only have the baby one day. But there's some
Right.
weirdo at Concord Hospital who likes to work Fridays and Saturdays, which is kind of a benefit because now my wife doesn't
There's
really work.
some weirdo. I can't.
So that person takes all the weekend shifts.
Yeah.
So now my wife isn't working that every other weekend schedule. So it's ending up being 2 to 3 days every single week, like Monday, Thursday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, or Sunday, Monday, Thursday, and it's like that is just totally. It's not like that's not working
Oh, yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Like I can't do anything.
Yeah.
Like and not for nothing. When I have the baby, I want to spend time with the baby.
Yeah.
I want to watch. You
Yeah.
know, but she's already 4 months old. Last
Oh,
week, I'm
yeah.
like, what the
Yeah.
hell? 4 months old. Before I know she's gonna be a year old.
Is it
So I
really
don't
4 months?
I don't want to miss
Holy
out
smokes,
on her
yeah.
growing up, but at the same time, I still have to be able to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like there's got to be. I'm trying to find that balance. It's like the hardest part.
You guys,
right now.
I think probably all new parents are go through that,
Yeah.
like figuring out the routine.
Oh, dude,
yeah.
I've talked
and
to
factoring it in with work.
between
Oh, yeah.
Paul and Josh, like my go-to, like people that I do business with. They're like, yep. Josh calls me on Friday. I'm like, this kid screaming in the back. Face. This client's calling me. This client, I'm gonna punch him in the face. Blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't. He's like, hey, yep, I remember those days.
Welcome to
Yeah.
father.
He's like, yep, you're gonna be getting that daycare. I'm like, that's what. He's like, yeah, I remember it
Yeah.
like it was yesterday. So I mean, it's just I gave it 6 weeks of trying it. It hasn't really killed me, but it's like.
What about a babysitter? Like I
Well,
know
I've
that
thought
Gary
about
and
that,
Christine
too.
really utilize like some solid babysitters.
So that's the other thing too. We're looking into possible. So like my Nate's girl, my cousin Nate, his
Yeah.
girlfriend works at a daycare right in Ware, and they have really good reviews, and she actually works in like the infant and baby care section, and she's like my little sister. So I'm like, braids, figure out like how much is
There
it a
you
day.
go.
She's
Yeah.
like $60 a day. I'm like, that's not even that bad. Like
No,
$60 and I'm free for the day.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Oh, she goes, oh yeah, they're booked out right now. And I'm like,
Yeah, of course they are.
So
Of
now
course
we're
they are.
starting
So,
to explore other options.
My wife
and-
actually called daycare, is looking for a daycare for Corbin because Corbin can go,
Right.
and then all of them are booked up.
Yep.
So
Yeah. What
And that was the
town?
other thing,
What
too,
town are
I've-
you living in now?
Goffstown.
Oh,
you're
nice.
in G Town.
Oh yeah, G-Town, baby.
Nice.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
Goffstown and Ware a lot.
I like
I'll
Goffstown.
probably end up, when it comes time for me to actually get a single family and
Yeah.
settle down a little bit, stop living my single city life.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up in G Town or Ware.
Yeah, G-Town's nice. I like it.
Yeah.
G-Town is nice.
Oh yeah, it is.
It
Except
got
for all the
voted
fucking-
it got voted #1 place to live in New Hampshire.
Oh yeah,
last
it
year.
did. It
Yeah.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the schools are good. So
Yeah.
if you ever
Yeah,
you
until you guys
have
deal with
kids,
the taxes
Oh
and the
my
fucking road
gosh,
and the road
dude, don't even-
agents.
don't-
Dude, the whole tax thing this past year is
yeah, the taxes
That's-
and then like
Oh, I remember.
Of course, we
I
need
had
a
to do
full-time.
it-
of
I
course
had
we
to
need-
do a
honest.
special disclosure one year for any house that I sold in Goffstown. Was it
Really?
2018?
Oh,
Yeah,
I
there
don't
was.
remember that.
It was a tax disclosure
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like
I never did that, and I
'cause-
saw a lot of houses there.
because they were under budget.
Yeah, they
and
screwed
were
the
gonna-
pooch.
So
Yeah.
they, from my understanding, you probably know better than I do, but basically my understanding was something along the lines of they did their budgeting, forgot to like account for like this whole section of whatever it was, like. They
Yeah.
forgot, like,
I
we
think it was
forgot
the
about the
school.
$7
I think it
million.
was
Yeah,
school.
it was school
It was like,
budget.
oh yeah, well they forgot about the $7 million.
So our
for the
taxes were great
school.
that year.
So they're like, oh, we could drop the tax bill
Yeah.
$7
Oh, yeah,
million, and
yeah.
it's like, how do you?
Yeah.
How do you
So
do
we
that?
paid, we
miss
paid for
that?
that 2018.
They're like, guys,
So then
listen,
they had to,
our
like, double it,
our
though, like,
embezzlement
recredit.
scheme is over, so we
Yeah.
have different monies are different now.
Absolutely wild.
It was,
Absolutely wild.
yeah, taxes are dumb. That's the only thing I like
Taxes
about
are
Goffstown.
dumb, and
They're
I
trying to
don't
make
get
Goffstown like Bedford or
Yeah, but you
like
guys gotta-
Manchester. or
you guys
something.
gotta
tax
realize-
rate's the same.
I know.
It's just
I know.
wild.
That's what my brother. My brother-in-law lives in Bedford. I'm like, you You know,
Yeah,
I'm
because values in Bedford compared to Gotham.
I'm like, I feel the same tactics you do.
If you're
My
gonna
house
buy,
isn't even
if you're
as
gonna
nice.
buy a $750,000 house, are you gonna buy it in Bedford or Goffstown? You're
You're
gonna buy that
Bedford.
motherfucker buy it in
Yeah.
Bedford because you're gonna A,
It's
get more
status
bang
to live
for your
in
buck,
Bedford.
B, the tax rate's
Yeah.
just the same as Goffstown, and
Yeah, but the
C,
one thing about-
when the market comes down, Bedford, the values are gonna remain higher than they would in Goffstown.
I don't want to knock Bedford too much because I want to sell there and I like selling there. But Bedford has like less unique character, like
This is
houses
true.
with a lot of character.
This is true.
There's a lot of generic builds.
This is
there.
true.
They
Very
look
true.
They look fucking cookie cutter.
They do.
And me
Yes,
growing,
yes.
I'm a northern boy. I didn't see, there were no generic new builds
Yeah,
up there.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I go to them all the time now and like I sell them, but just Bedford, there are some neighborhoods where it's
They're all the same.
ticky-tacky.
Yeah.
It
And,
is.
and I don't like that.
Yeah.
I
No.
like unique. I like character.
Yeah.
I like Chris's house.
Yeah.
I freaking love. It's sick.
Thanks.
And
Me
so-
too. I also love it.
Yeah,
Good. That's good.
good. You know, there's just some houses that I sell that I can actually picture myself in,
Yeah.
and then there's other houses that I sell that I'm like, this is definitely not up
Yeah.
my alley.
I thought I was gonna be like when it came time to buy my house, like my worst client ever, because you see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of houses, and I'm like, oh, I love these 3 things about this house, but I hate that. So then
Yeah.
you feel like you're gonna have this big list of wants and needs and what you don't want.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you ever, because I get clients who give me a list, and they'll literally, oh, well, we want a fence, we want this, we want granite in the bathrooms, we want tile in the foyer, in the kitchen, and it's like, you can't even send them listings. Like, you
Yeah.
can't even get down that specific.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's great, you want all those things. Here, look at these 20 houses, and they have, like, 2 of those things. And they're
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, we like exactly.
Well,
Let's go.
You know what we
buyers,
did?
buyers
We-
always think they know what they want.
We
Buyers
so,
are...
Liars.
Hey, he said it, not me.
I'm not supposed to say that. That's a really bad thing to say, but
so
it's
we,
kinda
you know,
true.
we bought our house and we renovated it. So you know what? It's what we want.
That's
You know?
the way to do it right there.
That's
Buy
it.
something
Yeah, that's
updated, you
awesome.
can put your own flair on
That's
it.
it, man.
Or build a house.
Do you
and
have
then
some
pick
land?
the finishes.
We have a little bit, yeah.
nice. Do you
yeah.
have fires and stuff? Are you
Oh,
an
yeah.
outdoor guy?
Oh yeah.
Dude,
In
where-
the back of my
where-
house, I'm
where
planning
in
on putting a
G-Town?
shooting range. You know, on Terrell Hill.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, you got a shooting range?
Yeah,
Nice.
back in the back property. We
Dude,
have
hell yeah.
goats, chickens.
Yeah.
Oh, you
farmer
really
life.
have the
Yeah.
lifestyle.
Did you say bees?
Huh? No, geese.
Oh, I
Geese.
thought
We
you
have
said
our
bees.
guard geese. They were pretty good.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Wait, how many goats do you have?
3.
That
Are they like
is-
the
The
little
miniature.
ones?
Oh yeah.
Yo,
That's freaking awesome,
You
dude.
gotta come
Yeah.
check it out.
Oh, yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Is
I
it
wanna
Dude,
make
we have
little
a
farm
name. It's
compound.
Twin Acre Homestead.
really?
Nice.
Twin Acre Homestead. Yeah.
That is
Perfect.
badass, man.
Yeah. So we have like 100 chickens.
Do they? So do
We
you
sell the
use their,
eggs.
yeah?
We sell
Do
the
you
eggs.
use
We
their
make- we
eggs
make a
and
ton of
sell
money
them?
off
How
of
much
them.
land do you
Yeah.
have?
Just under 10.
Nice, dude.
Oh wow, that's a good.
That's a good chunk.
That's a good.
So
plot of
it's
land.
skinny. It's skinny. Like our property goes like this. You know.
It's like a
So-
rectangle.
Yeah.
Like a big long
Yeah,
rectangle.
yeah. So we have it. We have a ton behind us. But we actually have neighbors on either side of us. But it's good. We have we have our privacy. We have woods between us, so it's nice.
Cool.
But yeah, our property
Dude,
goes wicked far
I'm kinda
back. So
envious.
we
I mean,
moved all
I
our
love
animals.
my house, but I'm like so ready for chickens and goats,
Oh,
man.
dude, you kidding me? So
I'm
the
so
reason,
ready.
this is actually really recent. So I'm like, this pandemic is coming. I said I'm not going to be dependent on any store,
Grocery
right?
store,
No,
yeah.
I'm like I'm going to raise my own food. So I get, I'm like, hey, let's go
Dude,
buy
that's
some chickens.
awesome.
We always
You
had
changed
chickens. We
your
always had
chickens?
chickens. Yeah, they kind of breed themselves. you
Well,
know?
yeah.
Yeah, and then next thing you know, we have 6 little chickens running around. It's like, hey, we just got 6 more
Dude.
chickens.
Baby
So we're actually
chicks.
like working on like curbing that because
Yeah.
I mean after a certain point, it's like okay.
We got enough chickens.
Yeah.
Do they free range everywhere?
They actually stay. They do, but they stay on our property. So like
They're smart like that.
They
in a
are.
weird way.
So, like they know where
Is
the
it
house
fenced?
is. We have a fence, but the fence is like this tall. They have no problem flying over.
Dude, I'm so mad I don't have a
So-
chicken coop in my house yet. God damn it.
Where
Dude,
do you
that's
live?
on my
What town?
list. Where? I'm
Where-
a
oh,
Redmond.
dude, you can get chickens, dude.
No, I know. I'm
Go
just
ahead and
mad
get
I haven't
chickens.
done it yet.
Dude, I'll give you some.
I need a coop. I need to set
I got
up
one
a
of
coop.
those. Anyways,
We're gonna talk after
Go
this.
for it.
we have 100 chickens, 3 goats,
Awesome.
6
I want
geese.
goats.
We have turkeys.
So
Turkeys-
how
the
hard
Turkeys
it-
are cool.
How
Yeah.
hard is the taking care of everything?
So
is it something you do
it's
every
about,
morning?
It's about 30
or-
minutes a day.
Oh,
To take care of them.
But it's, like,
wicked
kinda
easy.
nice, like-
So the goats, my wife said the goats are like dogs, except better because they live outside. So we have 2 dogs too, but the goats live outside, but they're just as friendly as dogs.
Yeah,
you can train
yeah.
them just like a dog. Like I can train like these goats. Like my wife has
Oh my
all kinds
god,
of.
that's
Yep.
awesome.
So they're like family pets, you know, and
That's
they're
cool.
the small ones, so they don't take up a lot of room. They don't stink or anything, you know. So we built them a little farmhouse, whatever you want to call it, you know.
That's what I want
Hell
to
yeah.
do. I have some land that I need to finish clearing.
Yeah.
And I wanted to put a chicken coop over there.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to do something like a little goat house, goat
Yeah,
shack or
man.
something too.
And they're so much fun, you know. And
Yeah.
like the nice thing is too, like I cleared down a lot of trees, but they'll clear down all the small stuff. So like if you
Oh,
have any
really?
bushes or whatever, dude, they'll clean it right up for
So,
you.
because I actually cleared a lot of it, but a ton of it's already grown back really fast.
Dude,
So
get
my
some goats.
concern is that
Do you
they're
know
gonna-
renting goats for clearing out land is a thing?
No way.
I'm not even joking. You can rent a goat to clear out land, and they do a good job. But I'm not even joking. It was all grown and stuff with small shrubs and all that.
Yeah,
They
it's
cleared
like
it all
tall
out.
grass and
Yeah,
maybe some
they cleared
thicker
it all out.
bushes.
How long does it take them?
Not long.
Do
Dude,
you
we've
plop,
had-
you
we've
plop
had
them there for like
60
weeks?
minutes.
And they, you just put their fence around it, and they go to town.
Damn, those goats are freaking
dude,
weird.
eat
Dude,
poison
that's what
ivy.
I'm gonna
They
do.
eat
I
poison
have
ivy.
a bridge that goes.
They
I'm
eat
gonna
poison
fence
ivy.
around the bridge, chickens and goats right there.
Dude,
Yeah.
I like you're really living the pioneer lifestyle. That's cool.
Dude,
That is cool.
this
That is like
pandemic,
my-
I was like, I'm not depending on anybody.
Yeah,
you know?
I want to.
Dude, a lot of people are changing the way they're living
So-
because of
Tons.
COVID.
So the
crazy.
whole thing that started all this is nobody could find eggs in the stores, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna sell my eggs, you know, and
Perfect.
of course I'm gonna mark them up a little bit higher than the store. One, because they're organic eggs.
Two,
dude.
Yeah.
capitalism, mother.
I'm a business owner.
So, dude, I mean, it's like we profit about $500 a month, you know, profit, and it's like for eggs.
On eggs?
Yeah, on eggs.
Dude,
so chicken
that's like a
eggs.
decent little mini condo rental income.
So-
Solid.
So-
Joe B's like, get an in-law above the garage.
Yeah.
You can rent it to Matt.
So-
I'm like, no, chicken.
Yeah.
Dude, so we sell. My wife takes care of that, so like that's her little side hustle, and
Nice.
you know, profit $500 a month on chicken eggs.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
dude.
Pays for having them. Pays for the goats.
We're
you
gonna
know?
connect after this about the
Absolutely.
chickens and the
Does
coop.
April love it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So some days she doesn't. Some
Yeah,
days some days
'cause-
she's all set with it, but
So this is like
Well,
my
she's the
first
one
time.
really
She
dealing with stuff.
she
right?
is like I
'Cause
do.
she's
I'm
there.
like, hey, so I'm at the gym.
You're like, hey,
I'm at-
I got a fire suppression thing going on.
yeah, you know,
I got a very important business meeting.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, so I go to the gym 5 a.m. every morning, do some CrossFit, you know. And
Oh,
so
really?
I'm like,
5 a.m..
I'm out.
He's normal.
Hey,
I'm
you're
out.
a CrossFitter?
I'm CrossFitter.
How do
yeah.
you like being a CrossFitter?
I love it. love
Dude,
it.
I don't know
So
how I feel
I'm waiting
about
for
it.
the CrossFit jokes to come out. So come on.
I
Like,
just
mean,
don't know how I feel about it. It's just,
I'm
you
getting
know
a
what it
haircut.
is? It's a defense mechanism because my cardio is
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what it is.
So-
CrossFitters who they
That's-
all have good cardio.
Cardio is what I hate. Actually, that's what I hate the most. I
Yeah.
like, dude, deadlifting. You know, back squatting. Dude, I back squatted almost 300 pounds for 20 times the other day. I'm like, all right, my squat game is
Fuck
good.
yeah.
But you asked me to run, dude. I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
like,
Dude,
screw
I
that.
f***ing love those CrossFit documentaries on Netflix. I
Oh,
watched
yeah.
all of them.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
was like, dude, this
Yeah.
fucking chick is a badass.
Oh,
And
yeah.
some of them are pretty hot, but
Yeah.
they're a little bit too muscular. Some
yeah.
of them.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but no, that's cool. So is there a CrossFit gym in Goffstown?
It's actually in Manchester, True Peak.
Oh,
Shout
okay.
out, True Peak.
Yeah.
All right, so let's loop it back around.
Well, I want to just ask him a few more,
CrossFit questions?
a few more like other questions.
That's what I'm
like-
saying.
Yeah, like
Loop it back around.
so. For instance, my man, where did you go to high school and did you grow up around here? That's a 2 question, but I'm just curious if you're a New Hampshire
I was
boy.
born in Virginia. My dad is a true Southern boy. You know, he like deep South. He loves so he actually used to live. He obviously used to live here. He just moved back to. My parents have a beach house in North Carolina on the Outer Banks.
Ooh,
Really
nice.
nice. So that's
Dude,
where they,
I
that's
love
where they
North
retired.
Carolina. I
Yeah,
go
That's where
there.
they retired.
I go there
Nice.
once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whereabouts?
because one of my the Highlands.
I don't know what that is.
It's like
Is
an
that on the
hour-
Outer Banks?
It's an hour outside of Asheville. It's up in the mountains.
Okay, I don't know where that is. But
Yeah.
North Carolina's a nice place. My parents moved there. My dad's. I was born in Virginia. We moved up here for my dad to relocate for work. He worked at the shipyard. He built, the Navy ships and stuff in Virginia. That shut down. Moved to production up here. Grew up here. I was actually.
So wait, how old were you when you came over?
4 or 5. So I was young.
Oh, okay.
But I still consider myself a Virginian. You know, I was
Okay.
I was raised in
Yeah.
New Hampshire, but I'm in Virginia. Okay.
Yeah, it's like chickens and goats and all that shit.
Yeah.
Not that you don't have that in New Hampshire, but that's definitely something.
Yeah.
So
Dude,
were
to be
you
honest,
were
I
you
don't know
Southern
Virginia
New
at
Hampshire,
all.
like Manchester area, like.
We moved to actually Goffstown. So actually, my house used to be my parents' house. Like we bought their
No
house and
nice.
we took it, kind of made it our own. Because that was my wife's thing, right? She's like, I'm not living in your parents' house. I'm like, don't worry. Well,
Dude, so we obviously, you had mentioned, you know, like Steve and Carrie, like we probably know a lot. What year did you graduate high school?
2010.
Oh, dude, we
But
probably
wait,
know so
but wait,
many.
wait,
of these
wait, wait.
people. Maybe not.
Wait.
Go ahead.
So I was homeschooled.
Oh. That changes things.
Yeah, I'm ready for the homeschool jokes. You know, oh, you must have been so awkward.
Wait,
and
wait. So
you had no social life. Yep.
I mean,
That's me.
you're pretty good right now.
Do
I'm
you
just
have
saying, like-
siblings?
I do.
So were they all homeschooled?
For a time, yeah. I was the only one who was homeschooled kindergarten. So I went to kindergarten, like public kindergarten. I was pulled out of that because
What were you,
I
just
guess
a bad dude? You're a 5-year-old
dude,
bad dude?
I had a problem learning how to read or something. I don't know. Like
Yep.
I couldn't read. So my mom was like, maybe we should take you out of school or whatever. We'll homeschool you. And I think she did it because she felt bad for me because I was literally struggling to read. I don't know. Are you expected to read in kindergarten?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think it's like
you're
small
learning.
words.
I was
at
having
that
a
point.
hard time. I was
Yeah.
having a hard
Cat.
time. So yeah, like cat, can,
Dog.
bat.
I remember
So-
trying to like color,
Fat,
trying to
fat.
color within lines. That was hard.
Yeah, so I
still can't do
so
that.
I'll be honest with you guys. I think I might have dyslexia. I've never been tested, but I would not be surprised if I did. So
Dude,
I had
my
a hard
brother,
time
my brother
learning.
thinks he has it too. He doesn't know though.
Yeah, I mean, I've never been tested, and like honestly, I don't want to know.
Yeah,
I'd rather, you know,
Hey,
what's it called?
you're doing your thing, you're running a
Blissful
business.
ignorance or something
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, you're
Ignorance
good.
is bliss.
Ignorance
Hell
is bliss.
yeah.
Yeah. So so I had a hard time learning, and so my mom pulled me out, and I was homeschooled from kindergarten to I graduated in 12th grade. Got my parents to sign my diploma, you know, and that's how I got my GED or my high school diploma. So
Nice.
So did you have friends growing up?
yeah. Oh man, dude, it was
Come
so
on,
funny.
I gotta ask.
Like we
It's
have
just
so listen, believe it
Neighborhood
or
crowd,
not,
right?
homeschoolers have like their own.
Homeschooler.
Yeah, like there's homeschool
there's a
group, dude.
homeschooler
You know, there's a
network?
homeschool group.
Yeah.
I went to a homeschool group called Agape. Okay, and that's kind of it was twice a week. You know, that's where I met my friends. You know,
Yeah.
fellow
You
homeschoolers.
still
You
talk
know,
to any of those kids?
I do. I actually,
Nice.
I have a bachelor party for one on Saturday.
Nice,
He's getting
hell
married,
yeah.
so.
Oh, sick.
Yeah,
Was
so-
there designated
Nice.
recess time or not?
There was, so, dude. Like,
Did
so,
they, so
believe
she
it or
really
not,
tried to structure it.
yeah. So
'Cause
believe
I
it, like,
feel
dude,
like-
we had classrooms and stuff. You know?
Okay.
Not all homeschoolers. So the running joke is all homeschoolers are socially awkward, which a lot of them are. Like a lot of them are.
Yeah.
You know, it is a thing to be socially awkward as
Yeah,
a homeschooler because
yeah.
you have no social.
Skills.
Yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
don't talk to anybody or do anything besides sit at home and do homeschooling. Now, homeschooling was really cool, and now, so, like, the thing is now, like, I did homeschooling before it was cool, okay? Like, everybody's homeschooling
Now
now, staying at
everybody's
home.
doing it, yeah.
Listen, I did it before it was cool,
Yeah.
okay?
You were a trendsetter.
So, but yeah, I mean, so it was structured like a school. Like, we showed up for 8 a.m., we had our classes.
So you're happy it worked out that way.
Yeah, you know,
You don't
am.
like look back and say, why didn't my parents put me in public school?
At the time when I was in school, I'm like, I want to go to public school. I felt like I was missing out, kind of like college and stuff. And then I guess me going to college was maybe my way of trying to get that experience that I didn't get in public school.
Fair enough.
Hell yeah.
You know, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I still think it was dumb to go.
Dude, there's nothing like college social life though. It's so weird.
So you know what I
It's-
don't get though is like there's a kid who lived in Manchester who went to SNU. And he lived at SNU just because he wanted that experience. I'm like,
Yeah.
but that's so much money.
Yeah.
It's
Like
such
think
a
about all
waste.
that money. Like
Yeah.
so like I went to college. I still feel like I got the college experience without living on campus. I
Yeah.
didn't live on campus, you know. So
I know a lot. Like
There's
my
nothing-
wife did her freshman year, and she got the college, and
Yeah,
then the rest
yeah.
she just commuted because
Yeah.
she just went to
Yeah.
she went to Riv and she lived in
Yeah.
Londonderry.
There's
so it's like-
nothing like pounding as many beers as possible in like a 10 by 11 dorm room with 2 beds, and it just
Yeah.
smells really weird.
I went to some frat parties because they actually had not what are they called, fraternities in at Southern New Hampshire University. I was recruited for 2 of them, and
Yeah, did you rock it?
I
Did you
didn't.
go in?
I went to like their, what do they call them? Their Rush. I think they're called Rush or something like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know.
Where
But-
where the pledges get
yeah,
hazed.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, they don't get hazed anymore. You kidding me? No. But yes,
Wait,
went to
you
those.
mean-
Wait, is that a joke?
Yeah, well, no, because like hazing isn't supposed to be going on anymore. Like that's like ex-nade now. Like you can get people get in trouble for hazing.
Same thing
you know?
with Marine Corps. You
Yeah.
can't haze people.
They don't. The last thing a frat wants to do is end up on the 5 o'clock news.
Yeah, no,
because some of the ones that have
they definitely do haze
not
though.
good.
They definitely do haze.
Right.
So they did all that stuff, and like I went to that, and I was like, yeah, I'm all set with this, you know.
Oh, so I can't title this episode "Josh Wise Frat Guy."
I mean, you can,
No, I'm just joking.
but yeah. So I mean, the homeschool group was structured. It had classes. You know, they had recess. We actually had this team. I was on a soccer team.
Oh,
so,
nice.
I mean, I feel like I got the best of both worlds. I still
cool.
got the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I also was able to cram out and get all my homework done in 2 or 3 hours. You know?
Hell yeah.
So, and with the rest of my day, I would go out and, like we were talking earlier, I did grow up, you know, working outside and shoveling dirt and, you know, stuff like that. So, and I was always into that. So with my extra time, I would stop work. I would get done my homework, and then I would go outside and I'd do work, you know, work around the house.
Yeah, it
That's
almost
what I've been
sounds.
doing the last 2 days, dude. It's like fall's here.
Oh yeah.
Gotta prep the house for winter.
Oh hey, dude, I've been cutting wood. Yeah, I've never been so excited to cut wood. Man, I got a log
Dude,
splitter.
so my neighbor,
Oh,
I
yeah.
didn't cut any wood for this year, but my neighbor was like, hey, next year, he's like, you trying to cut? Because together, but the both of us have over 30 acres together.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we're like, dude, he's like, next year we're going to start. And I'm like,
Absolutely.
fuck yeah.
Dude, you
Yeah.
can even make, if you have a lot of land, you can even make decent money just getting paid stumpage.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what we have a friend, he was actually like my godfather up north. They own a logging business, and we let them like once every 3 years log on our property in Vermont.
Yeah.
And they just pay my dad stumpage. And,
Yeah. Yeah.
And to be honest, it worked to our benefit because they actually like cleared out more, and there's like a better view now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, so you know, we cutting trees, clearing wood,
Yep.
and you know,
Dude,
splitting it.
fall is my favorite time of
Oh,
year
yeah.
by a long shot.
We've
I'm
been
finding
talking
that-
about this nonstop.
I'm finding out that
This.
fall is my favorite time of year.
Yeah,
I think
totally.
it is.
Oh, it
you know?
hands down.
It
And they don't
really
have
is the
fairs.
best.
They don't have fairs anymore this year. So you know what we're doing?
Yeah, it sucks
You know
they
what we're doing?
canceled the
We're having a
Deerfield
Twin
Fair.
Acre Fair.
Nah,
I'm not even joking to you. It's October.
rocket.
It's October sometime. We're having a fair at our house.
I want an invitation.
Because our kids are at the age where you know they like
It's
that
fair
stuff.
time.
So yeah, it's
Yeah.
fair time. You know they want to pet goats. You know they want to.
You
Yeah.
got it all, dude.
So
Come to the goat farm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on down to
Come
the
on
Twin
down to the
Acre
goat farm.
Fair. The Twin Acre Fair.
That's it. Dude,
Those
that's
kids
kinda-
wrestling them pigs, so
Yeah.
fun to watch.
Oh,
We
yeah.
got the petting zoo with the mini goats.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's been a
Dude, I've
crazy
been pressure washing
conversation.
my deck like
Yeah.
all day today so we can restain it before winter because it's
Yeah.
like God knows the last time it was done.
Mhm.
And it's really nice mahogany, so I've just been like I'm gonna put some nice Australian timber oil right on it, bring the shine back out. But dude, it's amazing what like 2 hours of pressure washing does to the deck.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, oh my God, it looks night and day.
I know everyone has to get back to their regular lives, so
Totally.
Cool.
we can rock it. Alrighty, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. This is your boy Matt 101, and this is a Real Success Podcast. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to our man Josh Wise for coming on today. We're at the very beginning stages still of this podcast. We're going to try to get more consistent and rock it every other Thursday from here on out. So check us out on Spotify. We're finally got Spotify approved. We're on Apple Podcasts. So you don't have to sit and watch the video anymore. To be honest, hearing it on Spotify in the vehicle is really what podcasts are made to do. So definitely check us out on Spotify. And yeah, thanks for coming on, Josh. You're the man.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. And we'll see y'all next Thursday.
Over and out.
Yeah, over and out.
Oh, okay. So
Who are you?
see you next week. Bye.
Tune in next week.
See y'all next week.
Oh boy.
More shenanigans.
You need
More
to.
shenanigans. All right.
Toodaloo, mother. Can that be my outro?
Yeah,
You need something that's
So long, boys.
No, definitely can't be that.
Why is there a Chinese person in your trunk? All right. Anyways, I'll stop with the movie
You
references.
can't just quote movies as your outro. It's
Yeah. No, that's
yeah,
a no
you
go.
could. You could just quote Ricky Bobby all day.